a crucial step for a minister, particularly when they're newly appointed, but at any time you need to put this in place, is to build an efficient and loyal private office. That is the route through which you're going to communicate with the rest of the department, with often the world outside, certainly with the finance ministry, the Prime Minister's office, other ministers. So having an efficient and loyal private office is important, and both those words are important. Efficient, you want it to transact the business effectively, quickly, rapidly, keep things moving, convey messages accurately, bring messages to you accurately, but also loyal. They've got to be your people. They've got to believe in you. They've got to be committed to you as an individual, not just your political program, but you personally. So building that private office is really important. And if you look back through history, you see that some of the people we now think of as great leaders often were great leaders, but always had a very, very good, loyal and efficient private office. Take Abraham Lincoln, one of the great heroes of American history, the guy who brought the Emancipation Proclamation and ended slavery in January 1863. He had two people in his private office, but one was particularly crucial, a young man at the time called John Hay, who managed all his business, the people who came to see him, his appointments, wrote the notes, made sure there were accurate records, made sure they were filed, helped him with speeches. Although Abraham Lincoln was so good at those, he didn't need a lot of help, but he could test them out on John Hay because John Hay was loyal, intelligent, thoughtful, and devoted to the great president. Somebody like that in your life makes an enormous difference to your ability to magnify your impact, to scale and multiply your communication across the political system, across the official system, and out into the world. So if you can invest time early in your ministerial time or during your ministerial time, if something needs addressing, investing time in getting that private office working, it may seem at the time like a distraction from doing the real work out there. But if you get it right, it will make all the difference. It'll oil the wheels, it'll keep the machine moving, you'll get things done. So what does efficient mean? It means, first of all, they need to know what you think about anything so that they can talk to people without those people coming to you. An official comes to the private office and says, can I speak to the minister? The private office can say, well, he's busy or she's busy at the moment. What do you want? And then the official explains, and the private office can say, actually, we were talking about that with the minister yesterday. He or she thinks this, and you can go away and do that and let us know how that goes. So that's one thing. Another thing is you do have a meeting, maybe a stakeholder comes in, maybe a minister from another department comes in, maybe you have a negotiation with a senior person in the finance ministry. You need a note of that meeting. You need a record of what was said, because there may come a time when you need to pull that record out of the file, which may be electronic as well as physical these days, but you need to pull that and say to people, look, this is what we said, here's the note of the meeting. So efficient means knowing your mind, keeping a good record of what is said and what is agreed, and then pushing those messages out and saying the minister wants X, Y, and Z, and he or she wants it by this date or that date. Please come back to us. They also need to be saying to people, because a lot of things you might be asking officials to do might be very difficult. They also need to be saying, if you run into difficulty, come back to us. Otherwise, the minister trusts you to get on with it. So they've got to build a relationship with these officials where the officials are willing to come back if they run into problems. What you don't want are officials who are afraid to come to the minister's office when they've got a problem, because they're fearful that they're going to be shouted at or demoted or whatever. So you need to create the relationship where the officials will come to you when they've got a problem, but they'll get on with it when they haven't got a problem. The other thing a private office needs to do is, inevitably in a ministerial career, you have to disappoint people. You have a meeting in the diary, for example, with a stakeholder, and then the Prime Minister summons you. You've got to go. You've got to disappoint the person who was in your diary. The way the private office does that can build the relationship with the disappointed person, or they can upset the disappointed person. So the skill in managing disappointments is really important. And then the other thing you want, because you've got a whirl of activity going on around you, is a private secretary who's going to say to you, well, you remember yesterday, Minister, you agreed you were going to do this. We need to get that phone call in the diary. Or I don't know if you've had time to do that, but this would be a good moment while you're having that cup of tea. So you need a private office that manages, it kind of oils the wheels of the bureaucracy. It keeps it moving. They need to know what matters most to you. They need to bring order to the management of your time, which is the next point I'm going to come on to in the next segment of this. But having that private office is well worth an investment of time, getting the right people, and then spending time with them routinely, briefing them on what's in your head so they get to know you deeply, get to know what you want and can act on it. Building that loyalty may involve a significant investment of time early on, but the benefits in your time management will be huge if you get it right.